Not every superhero classic is recognized right away. Some Marvel and DC projects arrive ahead of their time, challenging audience expectations or landing in awkward market conditions. Others get buried by studio mishandling or superhero fatigue, only for fans to rediscover their brilliance years later. These overlooked gems remind audiences that innovation in the genre doesn't always come from billion-dollar blockbusters. What defines a masterpiece isn't just quality, it's cultural timing. Many of these movies and shows introduced ideas, tones, or characters that the mainstream wasn't ready for, but that later became hallmarks of modern superhero storytelling. Some reshaped genre conventions, while others proved that heart, humor, or tragedy could elevate caped adventures into something more lasting. When Misfits first hit British TV in 2009, it became an instant UK phenomenon, but outside Europe, few noticed. The series followed a group of juvenile offenders who gained powers after a freak storm, blending raunchy humor with genuine emotional depth. Its cast of flawed misfits felt refreshingly real, far removed from the polished heroes dominating American screens. While Heroes was collapsing under its own mythology, Misfits thrived by mocking superhero cliches. It delivered shocking twists, dark humor, and a tone that was equal parts absurd and heartfelt. Each episode balanced chaos with sharp social commentary, using its superpowers as metaphors for insecurity and identity. It took years, and streaming platforms, for international audiences to catch up. Once they did, Misfits gained cult status as a precursor to edgier, character-driven shows like The Boys and Doom Patrol. Today, it stands as one of the smartest, funniest, and most unpredictable superhero series ever made. Released in theaters with little marketing, Batman: Mask of the Phantasm bombed financially in 1993. Most audiences didn't realize it was a feature-length companion to Batman, the animated series, one of the most acclaimed superhero cartoons ever made. Despite poor attendance, the film's mature storytelling and war atmosphere made it a hidden masterpiece. Rather than focusing on gadgets or villains, Mask of the Phantasm explored Bruce Wayne's emotional core, confronting his lost love and his guilt over becoming Batman. The animation was gorgeous, the score cinematic, and the voice acting, especially Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, was phenomenal. Yet, at the time, animated still meant, for kids, to most moviegoers. Decades later, Mask of the Phantasm is considered one of the best Batman films, animated or otherwise. Its tragic romance and haunting tone influenced later works like The Dark Knight and The Batman. It proved that true greatness doesn't always come with box office glory. When Eternals premiered, it faced an uphill battle. Following the MCU's Grand Avengers Endgame finale, audiences weren't ready for a meditative, centuries-spanning story about immortal outsiders. Critics were divided, and some viewers called it slow or unfocused. However, over time, Eternals has quietly built a devoted following for its ambition and emotional depth. Director Chloe Zhao delivered something unlike any MCU timeline entry before. Eternals was philosophical, tragic, and deeply human. Its sweeping cinematography and introspective tone reframed what superhero movies could look like. It questioned faith, purpose, and identity, themes rarely explored in blockbuster storytelling. Now, audiences are re-evaluating Eternals as a misunderstood gem. Its diverse ensemble, cosmic mythos, and willingness to linger on emotion rather than spectacle have aged beautifully. While it stumbled commercially, Eternals feels more essential with each passing year, a bold, poetic outlier that dared to make superheroes feel small against the vastness of time. NBC's Constantine came and went far too quickly, cancelled after one season despite passionate viewer support. Starring Matt Ryan as the cynical demon hunter, it captured the dark humor and gothic tone of DC's Hellblazer comics better than any adaptation before or since. Unfortunately, its late-night time slot and network limitations doomed it commercially. At a time when DC was focused on broader audience fare like Arrow and The Flash, Constantine stood apart. It was grim, brooding, and unflinchingly supernatural. Ryan's performance was magnetic, equal parts world-weary and defiant, making his Constantine feel authentically haunted by past sins. After cancellation, fans kept the show's legacy alive. Ryan's Constantine crossed over into Legends of Tomorrow, and the animated Justice League Dark, earning a cult following that continues today. With its eerie style and razor-sharp writing, Constantine has grown into a fan-favorite example of how television sometimes gives up on genius too soon. In 2009, Wolverine and the X-Men launched quietly on Nicktoons, and just as quickly disappeared. Low ratings and behind-the-scenes issues cut the show short after one season. Yet that single season remains a masterclass in superhero storytelling, brimming with complex characters and mature themes. Wolverine and the X-Men flipped the usual X-Men formula by making Wolverine the reluctant leader after Xavier's disappearance. It balanced serialized storytelling with stand-alone adventures, exploring ideas of destiny, sacrifice, and redemption. The animation was slick, and the writing was shockingly nuanced for a kids' show. Though cancelled for low ratings, Wolverine and the X-Men slowly gained a strong audience. Until X-Men 97 revived X-Men, the animated series, Wolverine and the X-Men was the nearest successor, offering the same quality of mutant tales. Frustratingly, the narrative was building to a Phoenix Saga adaptation and ending in an unresolved cliffhanger. When The Rocketeer premiered in 1991, it barely made a dent at the box office. Its retro 1930s pulp adventure tone was puzzling, and it didn't fit the flashy action trends of the time. Yet, in the years since, it's become a beloved cult classic, and an early prototype for modern superhero movies. The Rocketeer follows stunt pilot Cliff Secord, who discovers a stolen jetpack and becomes a reluctant hero. It's a heartfelt love letter to the early days of aviation, heroism, and comic book serials, anchored by genuine performances and old-fashioned sincerity. Director Joe Johnston's attention to period detail gives it timeless charm. Now, The Rocketeer is celebrated for what it represents: the joy of heroism before everything got dark and gritty. It paved the way for Johnston to later make Captain America, the first Avenger. The Rocketeer remains one of the most underrated superhero adventures ever made, serving as a charming precursor. In 1999, Mystery Men was dismissed as a box office flop and a superhero parody without an audience. Years later, its absurd humor and eccentric cast have made it a cult treasure. Long before Deadpool or The Boys skewered hero culture, this film was already satirizing the entire concept. The ensemble, Ben Stiller, Hank Azaria, William H. Macy, and Janine Garofalo, played hilariously incompetent heroes trying to save their city. Its weirdness was ahead of its time, balancing slapstick comedy with surprisingly sharp commentary about fame and heroism. Even Mystery Men's art direction and soundtrack feel strikingly modern in hindsight. Today, Mystery Men stands as a prototype for postmodern superhero humor. It's the kind of oddball project that failed because audiences didn't yet know they wanted something this strange. In retrospect, it was predicting the very superhero fatigue and self-awareness that define the genre now. Before Spider-Man made Sam Raimi a household name, he created a violent, emotional original superhero story that audiences didn't quite know what to make of. Released in 1990, it was too weird for mainstream viewers and too heartfelt for horror fans. Yet it's since earned classic status among genre lovers. Liam Neeson stars as a scientist horribly disfigured by criminals who becomes a vengeful vigilante. Raimi infused the story with his signature kinetic energy and tragic irony, blending pulp, pathos, and monstrous beauty. The result was a superhero film that felt like a cross between The Phantom of the Opera and Batman. Though it flopped commercially, Darkman has aged beautifully. Its visual inventiveness, emotional core, and moral ambiguity foreshadowed the complexity of 2000s superhero cinema. Today, it's recognized as one of the boldest, most original entries in the genre, a masterpiece that fans just weren't ready for.